One thing that makes Mariano is he is a throwback football player.
That is Mariano Marin. Wow, showcasing his physicality.
You gotta think of old school Big Ten football, in your face, incredibly physical. You gotta think like a player in the National Football League like Zach Thomas. He plays faster and more physical than probably anybody I've ever coached.
Big collision with Mariano Marin on that Butkus watch list, showing us why.
He's one guy that you want on your football team, and you're thankful he's on your football team, and you don't know what you would do without him on your football team, but you're really thankful you don't have to play against him.
You got to be a little cuckoo. Like, some of the things that we do as a linebacker are not normal. It is not normal to run full speed at a fullback in the hole knowing that there's imminent collision. When you do that, yeah, you might have to have a few screws loose upstairs.
It's intercepted. Mariano Marin has the interception.
His mind is always working ahead, and he anticipates and studies and prepares better than anyone, and that's why he's always where he needs to be.
Guys can get down and run a 40 or change direction really quickly, and that's definitely a part of it, but just being able to make adjustments mid-play is just something that he does very well.
As the Mike linebacker, I have to ensure that all the checks are made, everybody's in the right spot, and when everybody's working together and you're kind of just the guy that does this in the orchestra. What do you call it? The conductor of an orchestra. And everybody's working on the same page, playing together, playing fast, playing for each other. That's what allows us to be successful on defense.
He's more of a coordinator on the field. Having an extension of Joe Rossi out there helps Joe. I've heard Joe and Mariano have conversations together that you're like, those sound like two defensive coordinators having that conversation, that 500 level type thinking. He knows what the safeties are doing, the corners, the three technique, the nose guard. He knows where everybody's supposed to be, and that's what makes him such a special football player.
Here's the kick. Demus back deep from his 3. Going to the wide side, well tracked down. By the way, that's Demus that's down on the field. This could be a double whammy with him injured.
When I got hurt, it felt like I did something wrong. Why now? You're on the ups, like everything's going up. Watching my guys come over there to me and just talking to me, come on, Tay, you good, you good, you good. And not being able to, go back out, it's just like, what happened? I was just like, I'm coming back, regardless if it's now, later, 2 years from now, I will be back. This isn't the end. When I came out of surgery, just looking at my knee every day, just like, this is actually happening. I actually have to rehab, retraining yourself to do everything over again. It was really scary to go through this process, but it just made me appreciate the game a lot more. That first game back, it will be so surreal because I'm actually doing the thing that I love again. It's going to be crazy, to be honest. I can't really put a definition on it.
That moment before we come out of the tunnel, I really just have a mixed thoughts of everything. When you haven't been out there in almost a year, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. Had a good catch against Buffalo in the first game on the sideline. That's when I really knew I had that awareness, of the field. I just feel like the game was just naturally coming back to me week after week.
We both know that he's maybe not 100% just yet because he's not even a year out. Time is the thing that's most important for the type of injury he had, and he's further along than anybody would have ever expected him to be. He still is adding tremendous value to us as an offensive player.
to the end zone. It's caught by Demus. Touchdown, Maryland.
It just feel like the weight off my shoulders because I know I put in the work for this. I wouldn't choose to be anywhere else.
With the second pick in the 2020 National Signing Day Draft from Holy Names Catholic High School in Windsor, Ontario, tight end Theo Johnson.
Before we get started, take a minute, please, and give Mom and your brothers a big hug from me. This is an important day for all of you, like right now.
When you look at Theo, there's a big part of his mom. I know you could say that with most kids and their parents, but maybe even more so with Theo and his mom. Just an unbelievable family, got very close with his mom and her story and how driven she's been and what she means to that family. There was some challenges during COVID because she wasn't able to get across the border. But like always, she just finds a way.
To have my mom at a lot more games this year is going to be huge.
Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go! Oh!
It was a great feeling getting to walk into the stadium and to get to hug her before I walk in, and how proud she was of me.
There he is, there he is. I see him. There he goes, there he goes, there he goes. Big blocks! Woo!
It's kind of surreal. When you have 106,000 fans and your kid's the one that caught the ball.
Pass by Clifford is caught. Theo Johnson.
They're screaming, and some of it may be for him.
Growing up, that's all you want to do is just make your mom proud and give her a little bit of joy in her life.
I dropped him off at school on January 12th of 2020 and could not cross the border again until October 2021. It was a really hard time. There were no hugs before the game. There was no hugs after the game.
Hi, hi, hello. Somehow I got special permission today. Oh, it's so good to see you. How you doing, love?
Good. I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah.
I often think about my mom and just think about the hard times that we went through and just never wanting to have to see her struggle again. I try and push that to the front of my mind and not let myself slip.
I am really looking forward to being able to just be supportive, because it's what I'm good at.
My dad was born in Cuba, and he came to the United States when he was 3 years old. How he got to that point is a really interesting story.
My father was involved in politics in Cuba, as was my uncle, Humberto. Humberto was with Castro, helping him with his revolution to take out Batista. And when Castro finally came into power, my uncle did not like what he saw, and so he had meetings with the CIA. He was part of the Bay of Pigs, planning for the invasion to try and overtake the Castro government. Fidel and the people in the government realized that my uncle had been part of the whole planning of that, and so he was then tried and he was executed. My father was part of the Castro government at that time. You don't want to work for a government that just executed your brother. And so my dad decided that he wanted to bring his family over to the United States.
As I got older, I was able to understand it a little bit more. So I was able to connect and tie my family history in with, these crazy things that I'm learning about in school.
He understands the importance that half of him is Cuban, and he's very interested in that, understanding that part of him. He loves the Cuban food.
Best part about being Cuban is the food. My mom's not even Cuban, but she makes the best Cuban food.
Even as soon as he could walk, he would come and pull the step stool up and help me make things.
I'm a foodie. I've been to over 120 spots, and those are just places in the Twin Cities that I've been to since coming to the University of Minnesota. I'm gonna have a Cubano, sandwich Cubano. I'll do a guajiro, and then to get me started, I'll do some croquetas de jamón and some empanadas. This is just a really cool place because it just reminds me of home. A little community restaurant where you're getting the most authentic Cuban and Dominican food you can find in all the Twin Cities. You know, whenever I come here, you can see I got all the food in front of me. There's so many options here, but I make sure to get everything. If we weren't working out the way we were, we'd be in trouble. And the Cuban sandwich is the best sandwich on earth. Classic Cuban right there. Thin pressed, that's the best. I just grew up eating it, and that's what made me big and strong, I like to think, so gotta continue to eat it to this day. Rarely are there leftovers, sometimes there are, but I think I'll have leftovers today. But it won't go to waste, that's for sure.
Dontay and his dad were two peas in a pod. They were inseparable.
We have the same name. He's the one who ultimately got me into football. He just shaped my love for the game. Going into my 12th grade season, that's when I got my first offer. And my first offer was actually Maryland.
On April 28th, 2018, we were home. We were both getting ready to leave the house. He was going in one direction, I was going in another. I was on my way back, and I got a phone call. Don was in an accident. And I'm like, what? And he said, they're taking him to Southern Maryland Hospital, and you need to get there. They came out and said, I'm sorry, but we did all we could for him. And all I can remember, I know I hit the ground. Worst day of my life.
My mom, my grandmother, they pulled into the driveway. And I let them in. I was like, have you talked to Dad? Have you talked to Dad? And she pulled me into the living room. And he just told me, he was like, he's not coming home. I lost it. The next day, it felt like it didn't even happen. Like, it felt like I was gonna see him.
We had to lean on each other. Once, Dontay, we had to report to school on Father's Day of all days. He would check in, call, Mom, you okay? You okay? He stepped up.
I think about him more and more in the game because I cry before every game. No matter how, no matter what, I will cry before every game. Coming out the tunnel, as soon as I hit the sideline, it's like I'm looking to the stands to find him. His ashes that we have, I have some here inside this football. I actually play with this one. I take all the other stuff out, but there's just the football solely. This has his ashes in it, so I keep him with me during the game. It just helps me live a little easier.
When I think to my mom, all that she did for us, when I look back now, it's pretty I don't know, amazing. Like, it's the only word I can really think of what she was able to do with 6 boys.
I have 6 sons. Dominic is my oldest, he's 24. Nathan is almost 23. Theodore is 21. Levi is 19. Michael is 17, almost 18, and Keon is 16. As a family, we moved to Cambridge, Ontario, and there was a couple of pretty significant events that happened in our lives. January 9th of 2009, where I realized that the kids could wake up in the morning and find me dead. I decided that I wasn't going to let my relationship kill me, and that I wasn't going to leave my kids with no mom. So that was the day when I realized it's not going to get any better. I can't fix it. I tried for 11 years.
The abuse, it was for no reason. It was just a frequent occurring thing, and it was abusive and it was toxic. And when you are a stay-at-home mom and you're not providing the income for the family, let's say, and you're dealing with this abusive relationship, it can be hard to leave. My mom was in that relationship for 11 years. The abuse was getting worse from our dad. I kind of told my mom, I was like, Mom, like, if we're gonna leave, like, we have to leave now. Like, we have to leave now. He's gone. Like, whatever we have to do, we just have to leave.
Their dad left town, and that's when I was like, I can exit safely.
We didn't have much of a plan. We just knew that anything was kind of better than what we were going through at the time.
We were homeless and staying in alternate housing from January 19th, 2009 until April 1st, 2009.
Going to the food bank with her, I saw her, ask the people, like, hey, like, I know that you're only allowed to give this to a family, but can you just give us a little bit more? Because, I have 6 boys at home, and it's hard to see that, and it's hard to hear that.
My goal at that time was to finish my undergrad. I just knew that I needed a full-time job. When I decided that law school was what I really needed to consider was later in 2009. There are not a whole lot of people that these law schools have encountered that are saying, I think it's a good idea to go to school with 6 children as a single mom. I was relieved that I had been able to accomplish this task.
Things were a certain way for so long, and sitting at that graduation, you started to feel like I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit, and it was a good feeling because for the majority of my life, it was difficult to see that light.
What makes me most emotional is when the boys say how it impacted them. That's what makes me emotional, is realizing that it mattered to them.
And this time a pass into the back of the end zone, caught Theo Johnson. 23-yard touchdown catch.
I think about what she's done for me and she has gone through, and I just think to myself, like, I can't give up, because what I'm going through, whether it's just being tired in a meeting or being sore at practice, or it's a 10th play on a drive and I'm gassed, it's nothing compared to what she had to endure. And I just think to myself a lot, like, I can't let her down.
The Journey Big Ten Football 2022 is presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
There is nothing like the whiteout. There is nothing like this. This is a bucket list for anybody that loves sports. If you love any kind of sport, you love this. Bounce back night, and you couldn't ask for a better atmosphere than this.
You talk about a spectacle here at Beaver Stadium on a whiteout night. It is something special.
Everyone's tried to duplicate it, and they do well with it, but it's not this.
Just about ready here for what we can legitimately say is big-time Big Ten football. Handoff to Singleton, met right at the hole by Story Marin, the first man there.
He's not been getting caught up in traffic. He's had his nose on the ball carrier, doing a very nice job so far.
Now you got to generate something. I'm not talking you're at the desperation point, but you got to start generating something.
You got to have something good happen for this offense right now.
Clifford delivers over the middle, caught by Johnson at the 45 to midfield and to the Minnesota 49 and a first down. Second and 10 play action. Back goes Clifford. Clifford delivers downfield. Johnson again got it at the 30 and a first down.
The fans here have been eyeballing him for more catches, just 2 on the year, and he's got 2 in the last 3 plays, and now they're knocking on the door. The Golden Gophers will send the defense back out, needing to identify the tight ends here in this situation.
Clifford takes it. Back, delivers end zone. Caught, touchdown, Theo Johnson. The Nittany Lions have a 2-score lead.
Important drive here right now for Penn State, moving to football again.
Clifford takes the snap, play action fake. Back, throws it down the middle of the field for Washington. Goal line reaches up, a spectacular catch. Touchdown, Penn State. Parker Washington climbs the ladder and gives the Nittany Lions 6. Big sequence here for this Penn State defense. Kalikman, straight drop. Pump fakes, delivers downfield, safety's there, intercepted, Jair Brown at the 10, Brown 15, 20, Jair Brown to the 30, breaks the tackle, swings it near side to the 45, to the 40, keeps going 45, his third interception of the year. Now you could throw a left hook right here. Tinsley to the far side, Singleton to the left of Clifford. It's Singleton opening, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Penn State, Nicholas Singleton. We said they had the opportunity to throw the left hook. They did.
Thank you. Spoken into existence, my friend. Spoken into existence. How you feeling?
A little sore, but it's good.
Sore is good.
Yeah.
Sore is good.
Didn't do too bad.
Not too bad.
Not too shabby.
I'm not even hungry.
No, I know you're not hungry. You're holding it for me, though.
You get to carry it.
Thank you.
Now I'm kind of hungry that you're saying that.
Okay, then get a bite.